Hey guys, V. Rigoni, Max, high performance real estate entrepreneur. So what we're going to be doing here, okay, today is we're just going to be answering some of the questions that you have. Okay, these are typically questions that most people will have. Because you hear the content, you're interested in it, then typically you're going to have some questions. I know, like I said, that's how I learn. And like I said, it drives my son nuts because he doesn't learn that way at all. So when we're in the same meeting, he's like rolling his eyes. Like, is that guy ever going to quit asking questions? But hey, your questions are important. We want to be able to answer them. And let's just get started right off.
So, what was it, like 2 videos ago, you were talking about your 3-year recap. If you could start again, like 3 years ago today, what would you have done differently?
Well, that's in that period of time, 3 years ago today, what we've done differently. I can't say I would have done much because we did so much. We did so much. You know, I do know that the amount of effort and work we put in at the golf course, we could have built an apartment building, a 60-unit apartment building, for the amount of work and time we put into that thing. But the reality was, it was during the time of COVID. And so building anything back then would have been brutal. I'm just trying to think. I think we undercapitalized a couple of our initial projects, like the golf course. And so that probably was a little bit of an issue. You know, your financing on what you do is really important. But we worked through it. It wasn't that, you know, you're always going to hit something. Something's going to come to you. It's going to be something you got to overcome. So I'd say it's probably a little bit of undercapitalizing a couple of the first initial investments and projects. So that would probably be, you know, something we would have done differently.
So tax season's coming up. We probably have a lot of sole proprietors in the building watching this video. Why should someone want to incorporate their business, whether it be like an LLC and an S Corp?
Well, yeah, that's a really great question. Unfortunately, it's a little late to do anything for last year. Obviously, calendar years moved through last year. But what you missed out on last year, before we go into what you should do, is you missed out on 80% depreciation that you could move forward. Whereas if you bought a truck or a vehicle over 6,000 pounds for your business, you could have depreciated. They call it bonus depreciation. That's the word I was looking for. You could have bonus depreciated it at 80% of what you pay, of the cost of it. Not what you put down on it, but what your cost of it. So if it would have been an $80,000 truck, $70,000 truck, you could have bonus depreciated 80% of that against your taxes. Now, what's one of the reasons you want to incorporate or be a S Corp? Well, because they allow you the 20% off the top. After you do your deductions, you get another 20%. Now, I'm not in tax account, so you're going to have to talk with your accountant to make sure it's the right account. You know, a lot of people just out there want to do your tax return and move you through because they got 2,000 other tax returns to do. So it's very difficult to do your tax planning during tax season because they're too busy. But for tax season coming up, you're going to want to look at, should you incorporate? Should you become an S Corp, an LLC? And why? Because there are certain tax benefits that go along with this. Plus, if you have kids, are you paying your kids? Are they on the payroll? Do they do some work around the shop? Are they sweeping the floors? Can you pay them now I think this year it's $13,000 for last year. You could pay them up to $13,000 and not have to pay any income taxes on it because it was an expense. You paid them, right? Now, they get a $13,000 deduction on their taxes. The standard, right? Whatever that is for this coming year. Okay, it used to be 12, and I understand it's up to 13. I might be wrong, but I'm thinking that's what it is. It's right there in that range. But they get to write that. They get that standard deduction, so nobody pays taxes on that $12,000 to $13,000. How about that? Now, there might be some Social Security that has to be paid on that, but you'd have to have paid the money on the Social Security anyways. And that's another thing you can do. If you have your own LLC, you do an S Corp, some of that money that comes to you is not all considered earned income. It can be the profit from the business, which then you pay less taxes on. I should just say you pay less to the federal government, whether it's considered to be Social Security, employment tax, the actual federal income tax. You know, that gets a little hazy these days. All right, the question then becomes, you just pay less to the government. So if you want to pay less to the government, you may want to talk to your accountant. You may want to talk to a tax attorney. You may want to see about incorporating into an S Corp or an LLC and taking advantage of some of the tax laws. That's right. Good question, but that's what I would basically say to you. Let's get another one.
All right, we got a TikTok comment, which it's kind of more of a statement, but I'll have a question to run under that statement. We got it from Alien Ralph. College is worthless today. Been there, done that. Just go into the trades. That is your best bet. You won't make money with your useless degree. So my question is college necessary to be successful in general or even in business? Because I know a lot of people go and try to get business majors from college thinking.
Well, no, college is obviously not necessary to be successful. There are too many examples of people who are very successful that never even went to college or finished college, right? I mean, we all know those names that are really out there. Now, when this fellow here is talking about useless degrees, there's lots of useless degrees. You come out of college with an English degree. Oh, I know. There's somebody going to be out there saying, yeah, but then you can go into journalism. Good luck with that. Journalism is kind of going down the drain now that you got social media or AI. We don't know how that's going to impact. If college was a problem before, if there are history degrees and literature degrees and all these social studies degrees, all these things, they couldn't pay, you couldn't get a job, were useless before, what do you think AI is going to do to that? Now, are there some degrees you must go to college for in order to do that what you want to do? If you want to be a doctor, you got to go to college. If you want to be an accountant, you got to go to college. The professions, as we used to always say, the professions, right? Doctors, lawyers, dentists, accountants. I mean, so if you want to go into, research, yeah, you want a physics degree or a biology degree to get that job. Yes, but those are not the jobs this guy's talking about on this comment. He's talking about those useless degrees. And yes, you're much better off at that point learning a trade because AI can't replace the trade. Yeah, someday they'll have robots, I guess, whatever. But I mean, seriously. But if you can't flush the toilet, you got to call a plumber. Crap builds up fast in the toilet and in life. So sometimes you got to be able to make sure you can flush it. And so the question is an excellent question. And no, you don't need a useless college degree unless the only reason is for professions. And also, how about learn how to think big? What about learning how to think big? What about learning how to build the house or buy property and hire a plumber, right? Or an electrician? So there's some other ways around even that. But if you're looking for the old adage of, learn a trade, well, it's still there. That's some damn wisdom.
So this one's a would you rather. Would you rather have $1 million with a 500 credit score or just $5,000 with an 850 credit score, and why?
Well, I would take the 850 credit score. Well, in the question, if the question means that you could never get your credit score up, if I can get my credit score up, which I know how to do, and I could take that 500 credit score to 750 or 700 or 685, then I'll take the million with the 500 credit score. But if in the question, the rather
So
would you rather,
a bunch of debt.
but in the rather question, you can't get your credit score up, then you're much better off with the higher credit score and just having $500. If you know how to take risk, if you know how to think big, if you know how to implement and execute. If you can do those things, then the credit score and the $500 is much more valuable for you. If you don't know how to do any of those things, and you just want to sit home on the sofa, then hell, take the $1 million and sit there and keep sitting on the sofa and live your life that way. Because remember, the $1 million is only going to make you 5 to 6% a year. All right. Yeah, you could put it in the stock market, but then you got to be able to risk it. But we're talking about a safer investment, a CD, or even in the stock market. It's going to make you $80,000 a year. Now, I know there's a lot of people saying, hey, I'll take that 80 all day. I get it. Not saying that. But it's that million is not going to, if you want that credit score that credit score is going to give you the ability to grow $10 million, $50 million. So if you think big, you're going to want the better credit score and the less money. If you think small, you're going to want the bigger money and the low credit score because you don't give a shit. Sound good? Well, thanks so much for listening. leave some comments on the answers to the questions that other people have had. And we'll talk to you soon. Let's get out there. Let's make it happen.